to order. Running in progress. We could take a roll call, please.
In attendance, I have Bakuber, Ebert, Haniro, and Knorr. Missing Shaw, Munson.
Okay. Before we even get to the minutes, I want to, well, if I do minutes first, I ask for a change of agenda off the bat.
Either way,
Yes, I want to move, if with your approval, the discussion on the ordinance to after the liaison briefing, just because I think the ordinance might take some time and we can continue that discussion. I think we will, my opinion is we may need to continue that into the next meeting. So I'd like to make that the end of tonight's meeting and possibly continue. So do I need a motion for that or just?
You can just say without objection, so ordered.
Without objection, we will move that to be number, follow liaison. West is a here.
Hello.
Hello. So that you can take a motion to approve the minutes from last
also moved.
month.
You don't actually need a motion.
Oh, that's right, consensus. Thank you. I got
Yeah, only if there are
Keep me moving.
corrections. Yeah.
approval by consensus, unless there's any objections.
We've been doing this for years.
I know. Think of all the time we wasted. Think of all the time we could have saved. We discussed it for more than it took. Okay, so take on the next order, which is the results of the hearing from September 11th, and we all received a copy of the decision that we discussed on the 11th, findings and decision, and I need a motion to approve as written, or, well, let's take the motion in a second, then we can discuss any revisions. Motion to approve that decision.
I'll move. And we approve that decision as provided to us.
Okay, second.
I'll second it.
Okay, now we can ask if we have any questions or not.
No.
Any discussion?
I just had one question. I remember Daniel saying with prejudice at some point, but I haven't seen it.
What does that mean? Can you
It
explain that
basically means, and they can't bring this back
to the city?
Yeah.
They
to
can-
the WRMC again.
Okay,
But if he didn't put it in there, then I'm okay with it. I just wondered, Luke, have you had any conversation? I guess not, because he was our attorney.
No, yeah, he sent me this and
Okay.
that's
Right.
pretty much it.
Right, I gotta trust our attorney.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we'll do that. Any other questions, comments, discussion? So all in favor of approving this record of decision?
Can we
as
do
signify?
a roll call vote?
All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Thank you, Lisa. Lisa, or go ahead, roll call. Lisa? Susan?
Aye.
On?
Aye.
Aye.
Jim? Aye. Now, maybe I should ask Dan this question. I signed this piece of paper, and where does it end up? Some file cabinet?
Inbox to
I'm like,
pass on or to.
yeah, I guess that's,
At Fleming's inbox, I don't know.
Project file.
yeah, project file, just have to ask Dan.
Do we need to share it with the appellant? Or, I mean, I guess they already know, but
Public record, right?
You sign it and we make multiple copies and then Luke sends it to where it needs to go.
That's what my assumption.
I would ask legal what.
Yeah.
What, and contact legal.
Yeah. Okay, if maybe we can get that printed and signed today before we leave, if possible.
Yeah, that's easy.
Just to get done. Okay. All right. We're gonna move number 3 to after discussion on the Parkinson's Golf Course correlated article, discussion only. And I want to turn it over to Warren to summarize. As you see, you sent us some information on the article, and also we got a letter on comments from a UW Madison professor. The agronomy, forgot what it was.
Well, I read the article and it seemed like a pretty rigorous study. It has some weak points as it's pointed out by the professor, but I just think it's just for our information to be aware that this is a possible problem we have. And it goes along with our salt problem we have, as far as I'm concerned. We have 2 wells that are based, and those are open to pollution from either potentially maybe runoff from pesticides from the golf course or from salty practices on the Beltline or the city streets or Greenway Center. So do you have a picture of the wells?
Picture of, yeah, the location of them here.
Yeah. So it's wells 2 and 3. And then there's a capture zone.
Just have the well reports for each of them.
You don't have the capture zone slides in.
You're not.
Anyway, there is Eric sent me a picture of the capture zone, so you don't have that one.
Yeah, I don't think I have that on hand.
And so the blue is the 50-year and then 100-year capture zone. And so you could see that the wells 2 and 3, it goes over towards the golf course in Greenway Center.
I can't see where we are in the city with that.
Yeah, well, this is, well, the 2 black dots are 2 and 3.
Okay, and
And then
This is much more zoomed in.
yeah,
if you put this, well, 2 and 3, and then this capture zone extends beyond Esser's Pond to about here. The 50-year and then the 100-year goes beyond that.
I check it. Friday.
And the capture zone represents as you pump for a number of years, this is what the drawdown would look like. And so we're within the capture zone.
Golf course.
The golf course is here.
Multiple less.
Golf course.
Yeah,
right
so
over
this
here.
is, this is.
Pleasant View.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So am I ever turned around?
This is the Beltline.
Yes.
Greenway Center is right here.
Okay, yeah, okay. Gotcha. I'm with you.
And there is a well right here, but I don't know if that one's cased or not. I think, as Eric told me, all of them were cased except well 2 and 3, and they were built like 1945 or 1950.
You're not case at all?
I think you got
Yeah.
those slides. He sent me the logs. And he put on the elevations, the ground surface, and then the bottom of the casing.
Yep.
So the bottom of the casings are like 900, so that's exposed. And the other one,
Well, okay, the bottom's 900. What's the surface elevation?
so this is the shale, this is the confining layer here. So most new wells go below the shale, because the shale stops any kind of infiltration down
Yeah.
into the aquifer.
Okay,
And so all new wells are down below that. But these 2 wells are open to that. They're cased down for a while, but then they're open in the bottom unit.
gotcha.
And I think some discussion with Eric is the wells are old and there was some discussion about replacing them. And I think the combination of potential link to Parkinson's disease and salt problems, because we're at 150 milligrams per liter. And the nuisance is 250, but still 150, and we're going the wrong direction.
Are those 2 elevated in salt constant? Salt levels?
Off the top of my head, I'm not.
Those are the 2 that had salt problems.
Yeah.
When you did the testing, they tested all the wells
Yeah.
of these 2,
Only those 2 showed.
Yeah.
right? And then as we pump, all the water's mixed, and so they don't know how to pump from all of them. So like the article says, if you're within the capture zone or within the water surface area, it was like 126% increase in Parkinson's disease. If you're in capture zone, and if you're in the service area, it's like double. So because we mix the water, it doesn't matter where you are, you're going to get it throughout the service area.
Warren, I think one thing we need to discuss is the specific pesticides that are being used. And so what's being used at the golf course are not the ones that were in the article. And actually, the 2,4-D is in, if any homeowner that uses the Scott's four-step fertilizing program, step 2 is 2,4-D.
Yeah, I don't know, I guess, just
Yeah.
for
And
information, but I think there's enough evidence, the salt alone, to do the
Yeah,
wells.
the salt, I will agree with you. I'm not sure what we could do in terms of the pesticide or something that isn't considered that toxic if it's in.
Well, if you case down the wells, or case these wells, I don't think the golf course is going to stop using pesticides. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I thought you were saying, was that the golf course should stop using.
Well, the golf
pesticides.
courses, we could ask if they're using pesticides, or we could sample the well water and see if there's pesticides in it.
Well, if they are using pesticides, and it's the 2,4-D, not the ones that were in the article talking about. So I'm saying the toxicity is not sprayed from the golf course.
Well, I guess I asked
It does mention 2,4-D in the article.
in the article that Warren provided.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, the other question I have is, well, how much comes from the golf course versus the rest of the residential property?
Yeah, that's my
area
point.
there.
Is-
Fine, Scott's four-step program, you know, who knows what.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't. Between the well 2s and 3 and the golf course, there's probably not a lot of residential property. There's some in
But there's
between
a lot
around
on the
High Point
others.
to the wells. There's quite a few,
Well,
I guess there's quite a few houses in there.
And there's a lot on the other side of the wells.
But the zone of influence is mainly to the west, is what you're,
I guess,
no. Is that what that blue map is showing, mainly west, northwest? Of well 2 and 3. The capture zone
yeah,
is, get my direction straight. We're looking mainly to the west and northwest of the wells, or no, we're looking to the.
Southwest.
well, it goes a little to the east also.
Yeah,
It's west.
that's west. I assume west is left.
This is west.
Nope.
No,
Hope not, unless north is the down.
So I guess one of our future discussions was gonna be on salting as well. We were gonna
Yeah.
have Mike
Yeah,
yeah,
show up too.
right.
So I think that would kind of alleviate some of those concerns as well. You know, if we do talk about casing lower, it's kind of killing two birds with one stone.
the
Now, if
salting
you do, I talked to Randy Hunt, he's a research hydrogeologist with USGS, and he said you can pull the wells and recase them.
Mhm.
So that is a pot without doing new wells.
Yeah.
But if you do that, you'll cut down on your production from the well, because you don't have as much
Right.
area exposed to the aquifer. So you lose production, and so maybe. I don't know what the alternative, buy new ones.
Yeah.
Now. Middleton contributed to the Dane County groundwater model, and that's what this comes from. And supposedly as a contributor to it, the model is supposed to be a document or a model that we could use and ask for. Do runs for answering, like, how much production would we have if we cased it?
Yeah.
And there's supposed to be a person at Dane County, I guess it would be. Would we deal with her in Carson? I can't remember. who
Yeah,
it
I'm
is.
talking about. yeah,
Anyway, he called the person, that person who did it is gone. And no one else volunteered to do it, so. Randy said the alternative is to contact Dane, UW Geologic and Natural History Survey, who was one that did the model along with USGS. And I don't know if we want to go that route or not to find out how much it would be reduced, but it is a model that we are supposed to be able to use. And my guess is probably going right to UW Geological and Natural History Survey would probably be the right way of doing it. I think those, and Ken Potter used to be, not Ken Potter, but the guy's name. Yeah, anyway, there was a new person, new director. I guess we could talk about it more when the guy from the city comes.
Yeah, I can talk to Mike separately too, and then
Yeah,
when he comes at a future meeting to talk about, we're gonna talk about salting and the impact on the wells.
Yeah.
we kind of wrap that into it as well. Those
Okay.
casing.
Could we make a recommendation to the golf course about asking them what they're applying or if
Oh,
anything?
we have that information. They sent us that information. That's fine.
It's in the packet.
Yeah, I
It's
got
in the packet.
the email up here.
With a letter to the golf course people?
The letter from the golf course people with what they use.
It was just an email that was from the superintendent.
Oh,
Mentioning that they use 2,4-D and prosecutor. Prosecutor just for spot spray.
Luke, could you resend this article, the actual research article? Because I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, I don't, for some reason, it's not in the packet.
Yeah,
Thought
and
I had
that's,
added.
and I think that's real important to understand what the actual chemicals they found that were toxic, because certainly the guy who wrote the
are you
email,
referring to this one that was down in Storm?
yeah,
I sent that to all the members several months ago.
Yeah, but we just
I
resend.
can always
It-
resend it.
yeah, resend it,
The
please.
UW one,
But,
No, no, this is the one that Warren.
one Warren said.
This one,
From the,
yeah,
one that I found in Stormwater magazine.
right. Now, we've got the letter from the UW professor, so, yeah. I think we need to also, in terms of the golf course, any recommendations to them, we need to know which are the dangerous pesticides. Certainly,
Yeah.
one that's in Scott's 4-step lawn fertilizer is not at the level of some of the others. Or we'd really have a big problem with everybody putting it on their yards.
okay, so you'll resend the article that Warren sent us to the commission. And we'll schedule a time for a comprehensive talk on salt and pesticide usage.
Yeah, it's mineral water quality stuff.
Personal water.
Yep.
Okay. Okay,
We need hydrology in here too to look at, when you punch a hole through the rock.
Yeah.
Put your casing down, it's still punched a hole through the rock.
Yeah,
It's all gonna blend.
Hmm.
It really doesn't make a whole lot of difference.
You think that the bottom aquifer has salt in it too?
I'm sure it does.
The wells that are down there that we haven't found salt in it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, not yet.
I mean, the shales, they don't blend with the top one.
Yeah,
Then when the shale thins out now, as you go further to the north, past Century Avenue, then you'll find some. There is no protection for that aquifer.
I hope when we have that discussion, this is the guy from the water utility you're talking about.
yeah,
If he would have information, and I know it's all there if we dug through it, the well reports that they do every year. Each well, I think, has data on salt concentration.
Yep.
Be nice to see a trend, both geographically, but also time wise.
Because we should be looking at the ones in Madison too. So well number 6 in Madison has had salt for years.
But just so you know why do you want to do that? Just
Just to get a little more information, and that's one that's close to us.
how about the one in Spring Harbor?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I have a question for our liaison from Public Works.
Are we on that topic now?
Well, Public Works really is in charge of the utilities.
Correct.
So I don't want to be overstepping the line between our two committees, but I wonder, is this something that could be brought to the Public Works Committee as well? Before we dive too deeply into it?
Yeah, we can make that recommendation here, sure. Sure, that we're looking at it is. It really, I mean, here we are looking at. Aquifers and where the water comes from have nothing to do with. Surface water other than the rain.
Yeah.
Maybe,
A little bit of a stretch,
yeah, it is
Opinion.
a stretch for
I
us.
stretch
We're
for-
really looking at.
A stretch for who, us?
Yeah, we call ourselves Water Resources, which up until this groundwater concern, I've always thought of as being pretty much surface water and shallow groundwater.
Yeah,
So the surface
Not-
waters, the water resources of Middleton don't include groundwater?
Well,
Where does groundwater come from?
I know what you're getting at, Warren, and because
Right.
administratively, we can talk about it.
Hey, with the Public Works Committee though, because as long as the groundwater stays in the ground, then it's water resources. But if it's flowing through the taps, which
We're
is what the
drinking it.
concern is, yeah, that people are ingesting it and it might increase their chances of Parkinson's disease, then it's a Public Works Committee issue. So I just want to make sure that we
Yeah.
are coordinating with them on it.
Our mission statement is protect and enhance the water resources of Middleton.
Right.
If we just were to put those stuck in the word surface on there, we.
Yeah, they didn't say surface, said water resources, so.
All right, so the point is that we want to make a request for Don to liaison with the Public Works.
Yeah.
Committee or commission?
It's a
Committee.
committee and that won't be until October
Okay, and just let them,
13th.
just convey the information concerns that we're looking at and ask if they share or want to.
Yeah.
Take lead on that.
Could they also provide us with the chemical analysis of the water from the different wells?
It's in the annual report.
It's in there,
Well, or
and we're gonna have that.
give them
presented
our
to us.
annual report, their annual report.
The city does send out a report every
Yeah.
October,
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Right.
but it probably doesn't
Pass
include
that on to Ben?
pesticides.
No, but the point is, that's gonna be a topic that we
Yeah.
cover in this, what's his name?
Mike,
Mike comes. Well, but Lisa, I take your point that we need to make sure Public Works is at least aware of and of our discussions. Okay. Leads us into liaison briefings. Yeah, liaison for Public Works and CLC and I always get that in parks. Is that the same thing?
No, it's not.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, I have nothing, actually.
Okay. That's how it's at.
Public Works.
And
Other than now you gave me a job, I can pass it off. So make sure Ben knows to put it on. the
I'll pass it off to Ben.
All right, so no update from Public CLC.
Okay, CLC, the difference between parks and CLC is passive.
I knew that part.
That's basically it.
One under the other.
No,
There's
they're separate.
silos,
They're separate.
big fence, the big beautiful walls between them.
Yeah, sort of, not quite.
Okay.
They're staffed by the same staff.
Okay,
And it has varied depending on
budgets are separate?
what,
They're budgeted separately?
yes.
Okay. I'll stop asking questions. Any update from either of
Oh.
those categories?
Okay, I'm on both of them, but we don't discuss the conservancy lands at parks.
Okay.
Okay, the biggest thing is just a very brief discussion on vegetation and the conservancy lands that are actually stormwater features. And there wasn't any great decision made other than trying to, or maybe this committee needs to give a little more information back to them, because what I want to see is more using natural vegetation, which will help in terms of infiltration and evaporation.
Is there an inventory of stormwater features located on conservancy land?
Well,
And
what has happened is this year in the master plan, we added in the stormwater features as part of conservancy lands. In the past, they weren't.
So there is a document that says where stormwater features are located on conservancy land
Yes, that would be in the master
Conservancy
plan
lands plan that we reviewed.
that we
that
reviewed.
we've just approved. So basically, I think what you're asking is the area from the confluence pond, or just a little bit downstream from the confluence pond going west
Okay.
would be conservancy lands.
Yeah, okay.
I think the Middleton Hills detention ponds, all three of them would get included in there. And they've all got,
5 detention ponds?
you're counting the main area as 3. Is that-
True, but I'm talking, there's 2 others.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, 3.
Okay,
I think in general,
yeah.
most of the major stormwater facilities are also considered.
Yeah, they're now considered conservancy
Yeah, usually
lands.
parks maintaining them, they don't, yeah, but they
Well,
still
this
are,
is-
but
This is new in
Yeah.
terms of the funding as to who's maintaining and so on. So it's,
Is the golf course considered conservancy lands?
no. The golf course is the golf course. It's not part of parks either. It's an enterprise.
It's an enterprise.
It makes its own money and funds itself,
I know it makes its own money.
but it funds itself.
Funded, supposed to be so, I don't know, and again, this is probably a topic that's gonna take more. We have a stormwater utility fee that pays for maintenance of stormwater management facilities. These facilities, many of them, most of them, a lot of them are located on conservancy land. So the conservancy land budget does not cover maintenance of the stormwater
That is
facilities.
correct. And that's a big issue because the conservancy budget in the years that I've been on conservancy lands has decreased very, very significantly. We had like $1 million budgets when I first got on conservancy lands back in 2004. They're now down to maybe 400,000.
I guess I'll just point out that us as staff have been working kind of cooperatively between parks and.
Yeah, hopefully staff are now working together on this.
Yeah, we have.
And I think that's one of the issues that Eric brought up when he was planning the budget was he didn't include native seed, which is a very expensive cost for maintaining this. Grass seed is way cheaper.
Yeah.
So I think this is sort of new for public lands to deal with, so I have to sort of work with it, and I'm glad you guys are working together.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, Kevin knows a lot more about vegetation management than I ever will, so. I talked to him a lot on that stuff.
Good.
So if he says, we really need to help improve, restore, or update the prairie vegetation around pond X, stormwater pond X,
Mhm.
he would come to you to say, can we put that in the budget for next year?
Yeah, we would
Stormwater
work,
budget.
we would work cooperatively, I guess. It would be a discussion, right? So right now, I guess Confluence Pond is a good example
Yeah.
of where we're
Yeah,
trying to remediate everything with the vegetation there. We're working cooperatively with parks, but at the same time, it's a stormwater facility. So we're still mowing it consistently to knock the willows back,
yeah.
you know, but we're letting them do their inventory and get, suggestions from their consultants as well.
And this is where, as it gets restored, we can go from having to cut the willows and treat them to simply going in and burning native prairie vegetation,
That is the hope, yeah.
which will be much better for all the functions.
Is there actually equipment, let's take mowers, for example, that are owned and operated by public works staff and similar equipment owned and operated by parks and conservancy land?
That I don't know.
I would assume that there is some. I don't know if we call it duplicative, because we both do need it.
Yeah.
And we're both using it at the same
I
time.
think possibly not, because most of the conservancy management is burns. Parks are going to do like football fields, soccer fields, and so on. Those are
Like mountain areas, that kind of stuff.
that, yeah, where it's turf grass. And you wouldn't be using those mowers in a prairie area. You would go in and burn. So like for Pheasant Branch Conservancy, they burn.
Yeah.
For the Middleton Hills pond in front of you, You ever seen them mow it?
Yeah, they
They mow this,
15 feet from the street.
that's
That's-
public works for the street.
Right, I figured that, and
But in terms of the rest of it, no, it gets burned.
that's usually done by the firefighters, 'cause they have a good time doing it.
No, it's not.
Used to be, used to be.
It made me a long time ago.
That would have been a long, long time ago. It's adaptive restoration.
Other than the path through it that they mow.
Yeah, they do mow the path.
And who does that? Parks. does
Parks
that?
will do that part.
Really? But it's now Conservancy lands.
Well, that's still parks.
I just thought we said there were two separate entities.
Two separate committees
Okay,
under public lands.
okay,
Did we clear up that issue?
sure.
Okay.
You mentioned burns, and when Grace made a presentation here about burning plants,
Mhm.
we talked about when you burn vegetation, it makes phosphorus much more readily available.
Yeah,
Is there any discussion in CSA about contributing to phosphorus into the
No.
water system?
more concerned with getting rid of the non-native vegetation that can't handle being burned, which is a major problem. So if you burn regularly every several years, you will keep out the weedy vegetation.
I understand that,
Yeah,
but there is a downside that you're making phosphorus
Yeah.
more readily available that we're trying to eliminate.
right, but it's also depending on where it is, it's good fertilizer too.
Well, yeah, for a phosphorus on lawns are good fertilizer
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
We don't allow that.
So you want to stop burning all prairies?
No, I don't know. Just raise the question if you talk about it.
no, we haven't talked about it.
Yeah, so I guess what we could do is bring this back as an official agenda item too, and we can have,
Mhm.
Mhm.
you know, see where the commission wants to go. I guess I'll just point out that staff has been talking about, especially if we get an additional, crew member for the stormwater utility, we'll be able to do a more targeted approach.
Yeah.
We could always bring that back and I'll get
Mhm.
bigger update.
But I think you are going to need to do some burning to maintain the vegetation of it. Otherwise, you're going to be going in and cutting down willows and treating them, and some of that is, I think, more problematic than a burn every 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
It's not like they burn it every year.
2 or 3.
What?
2 or 3 they burn.
Yeah.
Any other liaison reports?
I have a question. What happened with the referral we made to CLC for signs in the creek corridor?
Oh, yeah.
That went nowhere. I would actually like to bring it back here. The big reason it went nowhere is Kylie did not want me to be on a joint phone call with her and Matt Fleming. And as a microbiology professor, I think I could have added a whole lot of information. I have since, well, at our hearing, I mentioned it to Matt because the creek is waters of the state. And that what we probably should do is simply post that it is not tested by Dane County or the state. Not say that it's not safe because we don't know, but at least let people realize.
If this commission made a recommendation to the council that says we would recommend posting signs at these locations that say this water is not tested by the county or the state for water quality purposes or human contact purposes.
Microbiological.
Let's
Contact.
not use that word. I'm not gonna say microbiological.
Okay.
Anyway, for that purpose, and we said to the council, we made we voted on that and said, okay, let's send it to the council. Could the council then just say, yeah, we're gonna do this, or no, we're
They
not gonna do this?
could, but I'm reluctant to do anything without consulting with Kylie.
Okay,
Because I remember at the meeting, I had suggested that Kylie talk to Luke first, because Luke, you had already consulted with Matt. And came back to us and said the city isn't liable. So I'm not, I'm reluctant to go over their heads over the staff's head or CLC's head.
so we're getting,
Council.
what I'm hearing is they don't think we should do it.
We didn't discuss all the potential issues, so that's where my concern is.
But I can't make them discuss those things. Either they do it or don't discuss
Well,
it.
they were I think they need to discuss what the contaminants that are risky in there, at least know what they potentially are. Kylie does not have that training.
Okay, you're on the committee,
Yes,
so you have the training.
I have the training. She didn't want to listen to.
I can't change
I'm
that.
sorry, I need to speak up and say that's not true. She tried 4 times to explain that the direction she's getting from her supervisor is that staff should be talking to the city attorney. That's all it was.
Okay,
But she didn't want me to explain to her even the microbiology.
okay.
And
I'm not sure I agree, and even if that is true, Susan, I'm not sure it would have mattered because the first step should have been for Kylie to coordinate with Luke, because Luke had already told us at our meeting, WRMC's meeting, that he had been in touch with Matt. So that was the first step that I'm sure Kylie was going to follow. And maybe this just needs to be brought up again on a CLC meeting to maybe we needed to ask a more specific question.
Yeah, I think we're getting into too many specifics here.
Yeah.
So I'll talk with Kylie and
talk with Matt Fleming, please,
Yeah, I'll talk
because
with
I
him.
had a very good conversation with
You got,
Matt.
you have enough understanding of the issue among you, Kylie, and talk to Matt and figure out if this is something the city wants to do or not.
we'll do that.
Fair?
That sounds good.
And if you've got questions about what's in there, let me know,
Sounds good.
because
Okay. All right, anything else from the council point of view you want to convey?
Oh, just one thing. Outlot 2 is now part of the city. I mean, the city owns it.
It's public. You've
You've
spilled the beans.
We approved the quit claim deed. We accepted it yesterday.
Does anybody know what we're talking about?
No,
No,
It's a big deal.
Yeah,
where is Outlot 2?
so it's right by where the
Do you know where
Greater
the,
Greenway project.
do you know where the path behind the houses on Whittlesey Road is?
Okay,
Yes,
It's
I guess
that
the
big-
confusing is every neighborhood has Outlot.
Right, but this one has been discussed.
It's
It
Oh,
connects-
that one.
It's this part right here. If we
Okay,
now have
wonderful.
oh, yeah.
any
okay.
ownership.
Yep,
Oh,
it's
right.
the,
I think it's
it's-
the one.
it's not all the way to High Road. Cause that's.
There's still a little gap here.
Yeah, but all this area, this crap.
Yeah.
Or polygon right there, all that is now owned by city.
that should help with the
Zone
survey.
conservancy, I take it? or is it-
Well, we already had zoned it conservancy.
That's true, okay,
in the,
okay.
So if
Zoning
it's
code
owned by the
update.
city, since we didn't fully fund all those sub-projects for the Great Hand thing.
All the debate we had on the study of towns.
This will be something at a future meeting we'll need to,
Yeah.
when we revisit the MSA contract. Now we have a big new chunk that can
It's
be.
not that whole wetland area. It's just where the stormwater facility, like there is a stormwater facility.
Right. But it's 14 acres
Yeah.
and it's.
We have options to look to.
Acquisition,
Yeah.
yeah.
But now land access will be not an issue and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So that's
that
why
was
I was,
exciting.
since we didn't do all those subparts, we should maybe look at that.
Yeah, we'll be bringing that.
So just a
Okay,
plain deed, it is gave it, because
Yeah.
they couldn't do anything with it.
Right.
Anyone pay
And
property
it's
taxes
been-
on
yeah,
it.
it's been a long time since anybody in that sphere cared about it, because they're like, he's living in Minnesota now. There's no.
Value.
The Friends of Penn Branch are very pleased and excited about that, because it does give a nice connection between Raber Pond and Conservancy proper. It's a corridor. Okay, anything else?
Nope, that was it.
Okay. We're gonna tackle the ordinance. This is something we've talked about for a long time. And had a lot of good reasons to revisit it and try to make some modifications. I think what we're gonna find out here is that if we, start going through the suggestions and comments, we'll see how far we get, and if we gets to a point where we're burned out, we can continue this discussion next month also. Does that satisfactory.
Sounds good.
Okay, I went through it. I know Warren went through it. I don't know if everybody had a chance to go through it. It's 30 pages of riveting text. I don't know how you want to, Luke, you want to run this show and how do you want
Sure, I can pull up. In general, I guess I didn't explain this previously. I tried to highlight all the areas that I changed. There might have been some minor wording changes or something in other areas, but tried to highlight all those. I also included this track changes version,
to?
so hopefully that helped provide some more context. I have some comments in here as well that a lot of them are general questions for the commission too on how we want to proceed.
Can you make that bigger? That's,
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna
even bigger.
can't we have to see ourselves and I'm glad Herb is on and Jeff, but we need to see that part of the screen
How's that?
more.
More.
I got it in front of me, so
Okay,
but
there we go.
also,
Can you see from there? Oh, these.
I've got my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess a couple of the main ones just that didn't change a whole lot in these first few sections. Starting in sediment control. This requirement number 4 that I added is straight from the Dane County code. So adding that is just to be consistent with Dane County. All that is saying is that on a redevelopment site, you have to implement green infrastructure to capture the first half inch of rainfall. That's pretty standard.
let's just hang on a second, please.
Which page are you on?
Yeah, yeah, 26.
Packet. Or 11 of the report.
Page
Okay,
11 on the track changes.
okay. You
So
skipped
the
ahead.
tracks changes, okay.
Yeah, I just went straight to check track changes. So.
Okay.
Before we dig in too deeply, can I make or ask a question? I guess it's kind of a request.
Okay.
Can we change stormwater from 2 words to 1 for consistency?
I agree.
It,
We'll do the same.
it sounds silly, but as someone who searches by terms,
Oh,
it can, yeah, I mean, not that I would ever search the stormwater ordinance. Stormwater, but if you're doing searches like that, it's really important to make sure that the same term.
You were broaching a raging debate since about 1986. Just so you know, this is not a new topic.
When I first started here, that was one of the first questions that Eric had. For me. He's like, "Is stormwater one word?"
That's kind
I
of,
said one word, and he's like, "That is correct."
Evolve. Email.
resident
staff,
injury things.
staff.
it,
On the
You
question
wanted
about
it to,
on sediment control, number 1, your average annual rainfall, under definitions, do we define average annual rainfall? I'm sure we did, but did we change it?
Oh,
well, this is,
1980. So it's the 1981 rainfall file that Winsler uses.
and yeah,
I mean, we've talked about that before being outdated. with
this
the-
is PNR. This is not for flow. This is water quality.
Yeah,
We can't unless DNR changes it, we can't change it. I'll say it that way.
we can't change what average annual rainfall is.
That's my opinion.
I would have to
Sticking to it.
check where DNR defines some of these. Just to make sure.
They reference. I've done this before. I've done this for my whole career. They usually just reference a website which USGS maintains and keeps up.
Yeah, I've always used the 1981 file.
Yeah, if you look at the
USGS doesn't keep it up to date on a routine basis. Only if they're asked. And they were asked
Yes.
once and back and looked at it.
yes. And now they've had the 5-year rainfall files probably about 10 years ago. to use, so those are officially sanctioned also legally for other purposes related to stormwater quality analyses. So I'm not arguing with you that it's not the most rigorously up-to-date data, but I think we are restricted by what we can. We can't just throw another year in there.
Okay.
You can, and if you wanted to be, a little more on that definition, you could simply say average rainfall record means the rainfall record as I want to say promulgated by Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources.
I think that should probably go in.
Because that might change. It could change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it also puts some context in it in terms of
Yeah.
that it's sort of out of date and it's not going with what's current for Middleton.
Number one, it's confusing. It says average annual, but then it's only for a 9-month period. I mean, come on.
Warren.
Well,
We can't fix all.
I'll talk about this later.
I mean, is there conversation about getting the state to change?
DNR has occasionally done this. It results in a whole host of issues. If you change that rainfall file now, that's been in place for 20 years, and there's all these TMDLs based upon those numbers. And those TMDLs say you got to reduce phosphorus by so many pounds. And if you're going to change that rainfall file for all the cities, all the MS4s in the state, everybody's TMDL changes. All the cities have to recalculate what their targets are for TMDLs, and chaos will reign.
is that necessarily bad?
I think the legislature would close the DNR's doors and say you guys can't.
It would be like Y2K in.
It would, from a DNR point of view, it would be really, really administratively challenging.
Well, not just the DNRs.
And from the city's point of view, every city in the state now, every city that's regulated by a permit would have to recalculate what they have to do to meet a target. And right now the targets are so aggressive that
We're not going to beat them.
so why change them? They're already incredibly challenging to meet, and you want to find out if we're more accurate by 5 or 6% or 8%. Well,
That gets back to my plus or minus 10%.
yeah.
Plus or minus, so you know.
Yeah, we're close.
Yeah.
I think it's out of our realm of scope of work. Sorry.
I can check how other communities have it defined in
Okay.
their ordinance as well.
So I know some just do cite the date, and that's, we can do that too. Nowhere in the sediment and phosphorus sectional do we simply say compliance with these standards is based procedures based on WDNR approved stormwater pollution modeling methods. Do we say it anywhere?
Don't remember seeing that. But I could have missed it.
What was your question, Jim?
Somewhere I would like to think an ordinance would say, because we talk about sediment control, phosphorus control, 80%, 40%, blah, blah, blah. Well, 80% of what? And the answer is based on WDNR approved stormwater pollution modeling methodology.
Yeah, that gives a little more clout to it. It's
Well, it
not
tells
with
the
some,
person where to go to find out how you're supposed to come up with these numbers.
but it also,
Know already, because I've been doing this for 30, 40
Yeah.
years now, but
but for the new person to realize it's not just the city of Middleton's whims.
well, that too. So anyway, Luke, I don't know if we say that somewhere.
I
think that would be worth
I don't think so, but a lot of other communities do. They lay out the standards that are to be followed.
And how,
Technical standards, anything like that. So
Well, or there may be a variety of models. Could the city have, could we recommend a certain model for a certain development?
for pollution?
For a certain development,
Well, like Graber's Pond, at the time, I thought we should have a continuous rainfall runoff model so we could evaluate the total flow into Vapors Pond, and SWIM would provide that where HydroCAD wouldn't, and we recommended it, and the consultant said he would do it, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, we're doing apples, a little bit of apples and oranges here. In this particular part, this is simply the city's ordinance for new and redevelopment to comply with pollution control requirements. Not peak flow, not volume, not.
You were talking about going back to DNR about what models were available, they should follow the models.
Again, I'm as to demonstrate you've complied with the sediment and phosphorus reduction requirements. That's all I'm trying to say. And if somebody wanted to propose a different model and it got approved by DNR, then the city would say, well, okay, I guess you're following DNR requirements. And the reason I'm saying this is because every time we do these things, we're taking a little check mark off of our TMDL numbers. And DNR wants to know that you're getting that check mark because you're following DNR procedures under their permit. You don't care?
Well, it sounds like Luke's gonna incorporate the.
Yeah, we'll be adding
reference that
in the technical standards and
Yeah.
Dane County ordinance, kind of just reference all those different items. that need to be-
And I know you do some places with for other things. I just wanted to make sure we don't overlook it, that's all.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be more of a general thing in, these top sections.
Going back to page 11 of the chapter then, so the phosphorus control, that that text is
That is
straight from,
That is brand new. There is no phosphorus standard in Dane County's ordinance, right? So the city needs to meet the TMDL. This is kind of a way to just get us to have developers report it, and try to set a goal for each development type.
Did Rona add phosphorus language?
I think they were looking at it. By the time I left, I don't think it got added. And again, I don't know if that's specifically mentioned in any other ordinance for the county. So I'd want to run that by Matt Fleming as well, just to make sure we are able to do so.
and one of this, and this is a, sort of a philosophical approach question that's throughout the document. What is the rationale, or is it a requirement? Let me ask that. Is someone else requiring us to give redevelopment a 50% break on what the standard is?
I believe for total suspended solids, it is in the state statute. For phosphorus control here, since it isn't listed anywhere, I kind of just pulled these numbers out of thin air as an example for discussion.
Okay.
The 60% is kind of right around where our TMDL is at in terms of the average. So that's why I had that.
And just so you know, when you've done the modeling and reduced a site sediment pollution by 80%, more or less, almost always, when you run the model for phosphorus, you'll find it's around 60%. You've achieved the 60% phosphorus almost always. Now, the other problem is with the 40% number, it's usually like around 27, but I guess 30 is close enough. So.
Yeah, there are. I mean, we could bump it down, bump up, take this out entirely. I guess in general, even if we don't have a phosphorus control listed in here, moving forward, I'm going to ask any development
The report
to
for
report
phosphorus. I think that's fair. I think many people do that.
Yeah.
And I think even in the NR 121 code, DNR's code, I think it says for 80% control, you can assume 60% phosphorus. I think there's a footnote like that.
Something like that.
They say the same thing for 40%. My question, I have another question too, on number 4 of the for redevelopment with proposed impervious surface greater than 80% of existing conditions, I will add the word conditions. The first half inch of runoff from impervious surfaces must be captured. Half inch of the area greater than, how did I say this?
So it's the
Is it
total
Total
Yeah,
impervious.
so this is a Dane County, this is straight from Dane County.
Okay.
My understanding of the rationale that they used is forcing places in Madison where it's much more developed
Mhm.
to add in green infrastructure.
Yeah.
So if you're not cutting back by 80% or less of the impervious on your site, you need to use green infrastructure to capture that.
You said 80% or less.
Yes, so if you're over 80%, you're subject to this requirement. If you're going from 10,000 square feet of a building to 5,000,
Yeah.
you're not subject to this. So there's more green area.
Square feet of impervious surface.
Yes.
So that apartment building that we approved on the corner of Greenway and Deming would fall under this.
Yes, yeah.
And is it clear to the reader that you got to capture the first half an inch of runoff from the total impervious area of the post-construction site?
Yes.
Redevelopment.
Yeah, and I would say
Is that clear? Is that why you?
Well, I was asking because I was trying to think, are there any, I mean, I just don't want anyone to confuse that 80% with the zoning code saying the maximum impervious surface area in various districts, would be
Yeah.
80%.
yeah,
But this, you're saying this is straight from.
this is straight from Dane County. Dane County has their stormwater manual as well online. They lay this out very well.
Okay.
So if someone had questions, I would shoot them directly to that.
Now this is my own little pet peeve that I've had for 30 years or more. When the term green infrastructure first came up, and it was the answer to everything, including climate change and cancer. I'm being a little facetious. Sorry, I'll record this. But kind of a means and methods thing. And it's like you got to capture the first half inch. How you do it, go at it. Because the word green infrastructure, people think means a very specific thing, and it really doesn't. It's got a broad definition. It's not a black and white category. And if we could get rid of the word green infrastructure altogether, I know we got a list of things that are examples of green infrastructure.
Yes.
And
But it sounds like this is from the county, so we
well,
don't have.
you don't,
that option.
in my opinion, you wouldn't have to say using green infrastructure.
But don't we have to take what the county is?
We're still abiding by the county's requirement of the half inch capture. That's not going away. We're meeting that. How you meet it is up whether you do it by.
I liked Luke's assessment that this is the county's way of making sure that green infrastructure is used.
And yeah, I'll wave the white flag because
But the advantage of the green infrastructure, you gotta have evapotranspiration, getting rid of the water.
I'm all for I'm all for
You
vegetation.
could be able to detect it, but that's not evapotranspiration
It's evaporation, and if you
necessarily, because you could release it after the flood's gone.
I know that Friends are interested in low impact development and.
there's all kinds of jargon that gets used, and that's my problem. Nobody really knows what green infrastructure means.
Isn't this defining?
Mhm. It's saying here's examples of it. Got all kinds of good examples, and I'm not against using vegetation. I'm all pro vegetation. I'll drop my soapbox. Move on. I'm not going to fight this battle.
Are you gonna put a time limit on this like tonight?
Nope. I know when all right.
So we went through the phosphorus control. Was there any more discussion we wanted there? We want to include it, just talk to Matt Fleming and see.
Yeah, see if that's passes muster with the legal guys. Can I just make a comment on D under the temperature control? Since this ordinance is just for this, we refer to these cold water impact thermally sensitive areas according to DNR. Realistically, what we're talking about, I think, This is a city of Middleton ordinance. There's only one area. That's a Black Earth Creek watershed.
Mhm.
So why don't we, if we're writing this for the city of Middleton, just say, if your land's in the Black Earth Creek watershed, you need to abide by temperature control.
You don't have to in Pheasant Branch.
No,
It's not thermally sensitive,
Yeah,
like according to DNR's criteria.
yeah. It's not a drought term.
yeah,
So to me, it's a more plain language for the reader to know what, if they are or are not subject to temperature control.
Also
Yeah.
avoids the question, where?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
It's, you know, if you want to talk about, it's kind of a dumb thing anyway, because of the land that Win Middleton dumps into a pond that warms it up before it goes into Black Earth Creek, so.
Seems counterintuitive.
Yeah,
That's my recommendation.
I like that. I have a request for, since we're talking about pet peeves, I have a request for page 39 of the packet, page 5 of the chapter.
Page 5, back up.
It's the groundwater flooding definition.
Oh, yeah.
Change man-made.
Oh yeah, mankind. Yeah, I got rid of that too. Cultural, I said.
There are, or like engineered, but
Yeah.
elsewhere it says human made, so
Yeah.
just search for man-made.
Yeah.
so where are we now?
Groundwater definition.
23 definitions.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Which is actually,
made a change there. Cultural structures, human-made structures. Of course, human is still.
And then also, since we're in the definitions on page 7 of the chapter, the percent deficient. Is this taken from somewhere?
Page 7.
No, that is just basically, we can rewrite that however. we want.
I was just wondering if the 0.25 should be changed to 25%, because it's the percent deficient.
oh,
That makes sense.
And where does that come into play with the fee?
Yes,
Okay.
so that's used kind of at the very end of the chapter.
Is a deficiency of.
I mean, if you multiply it by 25% or by 0.25, you should get the same thing. So, but since it's called a percent, the definition is percent deficient, it should be a percent.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
all I'm saying.
Yep.
Yep.
And then I had a question about runoff volume on page 8 of the chapter. So runoff volume means the total volume of runoff for a given period that occurs in a watershed. Do we mean in the entire watershed?
Yeah, okay.
So watershed is kind of a flexible term, you know, so if you're looking at the site, there's site level watersheds, there's whole level watersheds, so this is more what is being analyzed for the project.
So when I say project area or something like
What-
That's
Or
what
a
I,
site?
site.
Just say site. I
Yeah,
think we say site out.
I think-
Site is the general term for,
yeah,
think
it's just
site
like
is-
regulation and flexibility.
And
yeah,
Would that include groundwater too?
runoff volume include groundwater?
no, it's just surface water.
Yeah,
what about offsite?
well,
Coming onto that site?
I guess we're just in definitions, so.
yeah. Total volume, and it's an annual number, so total volume means the annual total volume of runoff from a given, well, you say from a given period.
Yeah. I don't know if we use it any other way than annual though,
I don't think, yeah,
wouldn't expect us to.
so we're gonna get rid of the word watershed and call it site,
Yep.
and we're gonna maybe use the word annual.
I guess when we get to. Like on Bell Farm. The groundwater infiltration goes in one direction towards the conservancy and the overland flow goes into Graber Pond. if you're looking at the total volume of runoff from that site, it's a combination of the groundwater movement toward the conservancy and the runoff into Graver Pines.
So runoff.
Just call it surface runoff then.
Yeah.
Surface
I wouldn't
runoff volume.
consider runoff. So that'd be part of infiltration.
We're not regulating, or not trying to regulate matching pre and post groundwater runoff volume.
Mhm.
We do define groundwater recharge in here already.
Yes, we do. So this definition, you want to just call surface water runoff volume?
Yes, I'd have to look at what we call it in other places. And I can
Yeah.
update there too.
Or the definition can say runoff volume means a total volume of surface runoff for a
Yeah.
given period.
Yeah, that works.
Is there any other definition questions before I skip down here?
Well, I had under 59 site. I added a second sentence to that definition that says site, because site means bounded area, blah, 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 blah. Site shall include all phases of a land development project. Because we get phase 1, phase 2s and things like that oftentimes.
See, I would
Is there a plat?
avoid that because if they're just building one building, let's say out of 4,
Like
they just have to meet the standards for that one building at the time.
Uh,
They have the option to build everything at once.
well, let's talk about
So
Allen Boulevard then. I mean, there is no plan for the west half of that property, is that right now?
we do not have any official submittal.
But we have an understanding that the west half will meet all the stormwater requirements.
Yeah, so I guess just to run through kind of like how this would happen is they build the 2 buildings, they build just enough stormwater for those 2 buildings. Then they have to show for the next phase of development that they're providing enough treatment for that as well. A lot of times what they'll do, like they're doing on that site, is building it all at once. And then for future sites, they submit us something that says, we are following the approved stormwater management plan. But they kind of have the option to do it at this point.
So either build all the stormwater facilities up front, even if they never put those next phase of buildings in, versus to have it considered for the whole site, but they don't actually build the infrastructure.
Yeah, and I would want us to talk to Matt before we required everything.
Mm.
Because we're requiring much above the standard than if we're.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Which choice?
All right.
So for leaving definitions, can we have a 5-minute break? Please,
Sure.
I
hate to
agree.
be that old man
Go ahead. I'm still looking at definitions here.
So we're off the record then, this break.
Yeah, really.
I got
And definitions,
I had a question. So we're adding the 200-year storm, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
in Madison's are already done that. Can. Where is it on the definition or the explanation is, the 23 inches of, evapotranspiration is under evapotranspiration?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought, my suggestion is, say, in this area, okay, I have a sentence, I'm just gonna read it to you, the second sentence would say, in the city of Middleton, the annual water loss volume is about 23 inches per year. It's a shorter sentence and it just says city of Middleton, that's what all we care about. And I didn't think we needed to talk about the other, less words is better, is my rule.
So what are you changing it to?
I'm not changing, all I'm doing is getting rid of the phrase 2/3 of the annual precipitation of 35 inches or about.
Yeah, you could always footnote it to say how you got that number. But you're just providing a reference point, correct?
Yeah, I guess this ties into a larger question about evapotranspiration as a whole. On how do we want developments to model it, right? So if do we want to just take the average 23 and go from there? And just apply that as, an automatic loss on the site, essentially?
Or is it only applied to the vegetated area?
My other question is this, if it would be too restrictive, again, Matt will review all this stuff, but it's too restrictive to state statute. There are some portions of state statute that limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll flag that.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we call out a specific inch level here?
On this definition. Sir,
Definition.
this is new, this is not in.
I know,
Yeah, but
how is that? It changes every year. I mean, is it a 10-year aggregate? Is it defined someplace or?
Well, I think here you find it as 35 inches.
Or where'd that number come from?
It's the average as right
So,
now.
yes, annual average
Right
rainfall.
now.
But that's a good thing. You could change that as time goes by. If it's not 35, if it goes up to 40, then we'll change it to 40. Instead of keeping it at 23.
Then
So-
just,
35 is defined in that Madison rainfall file. That's
Okay.
the average,
That's
that's
the
the
average.
sum of all the rainfall.
Oh, some
Right above
aggregate. No.
35.
doesn't this also depend on what the vegetation actually is?
there's a lot of depends on soil type, groundwater,
It's a huge-
there's a gazillion variables here.
There's a lot of variance.
Turf grass and trees.
We can't micro manage.
That's where, yeah, I think we're
Then
getting
be
maybe. a
more
little-
conservative and only list it as the evaporative transpiration for like turf grass. Because
Are you saying like have because Luke was asking how do we want them to model it? Do we provide for this type of vegetation? Here's your rate for native landscaping. Here's your rate for trees.
We could do that.
We could, that's getting a little.
Micromanage.
yeah, well, that's why I'm suggesting just leave it at turf grass is probably the least amount of evaporative transpiration. If they have something else, we benefit because it does it better.
So they get no credit for
Mhm.
grass. That's, I mean,
Well, I mean,
for
they get credit for turf grass, but they don't get credit if they put in prairie.
well, we want them to get credit if they put in prairie.
But we don't want people putting in turf grass and getting credit as if it were prairie.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So like instead of listing different types of vegetation, we could just say you can claim this 23 inches.
Here.
Yeah, for anything but turf grass.
Okay, that makes
Yeah,
it,
you get no.
that's what I wasn't getting.
Yep.
Okay, so we're just,
And that's kind of consistent with our zoning code, because for new development, you have to have 75% of your plantings and your points come from native plants.
so we're saying more than anything, if you incorporate native vegetation, you'll receive a credit towards your stormwater requirements for
Yeah,
infiltration.
You can
Mhm.
include, yeah.
Well,
that
this is
in-
evapotranspiration here.
We talk about loss as a whole. I guess that's where there's kind of, it's a little iffy.
Yeah.
And, well, and if Matt, excuse me, determines that this would be too strict, there is still the fact that development is required to have 75% of their plantings and 75% of their points come from native plants.
Okay.
It hasn't been, the developers haven't done that for 2 developments that we recently considered, but I flagged it, and I mean, the staff didn't hold them to it, partly because it was PUDs that they were doing new landscaping on, but we'll get evapotranspiration through that landscaping requirement, even if we can't require it through the stormwater ordinance. Does that make sense? If anything, I mean, it would be to their benefit to be able to use evapotranspiration in their modeling.
It's like the impervious surface area. That's all done in zoning before it gets to us. You won't even allow it before we
Right.
even consider it.
So I'm not clear then yet. If we're suggesting that this rate of 23 inches per year would only be applied to the surface that is covered in native plant community. So if a site is 5 acres and a quarter acres, and is that what we're saying?
You could take it from the, whatever the zoning code, how it's referred to in the landscaping section of the zoning code.
Well, the zoning code just says, tell me if I'm right or wrong, certain amount of your landscaping must be native species.
Right, but
Percent.
I'm just saying, I would pick the terms that the zoning code uses, whether it's native plantings or native vegetation, whatever the term is in the zoning code.
Emulate it.
Yep.
Okay, I'm not disagreeing with that at all, but I'm just asking a question. If you got a site that has parking lot, rooftop, turf grass, native vegetation, only the part that's native vegetation gets that footprint gets to take the credit for that much evapotranspiration
Yes.
volume. You guys look confused. I'm not.
well, this is just a definition, so I don't know,
Well,
right?
is that what we?
Doesn't tell you how to
Yeah.
get it.
I don't. I'm not sure is anybody doing this?
We want to,
In terms of other communities,
Yeah.
not that I know of. I guess my only question is the implementation.
How do we apply it? Yeah, that's my question too. The
Yeah.
developer says, what do you mean by this?
Yeah,
We gotta have an answer.
and what's this definition for native vegetation? I mean, it could be all sorts of things.
I guess my thought is the zoning code isn't necessarily prairie, right? It's more just the plantings that they need to hit those points.
Mhm.
So it's not really a full native vegetation.
Yeah,
prairie.
I mean, it would be like putting pale purple coneflower in a flower bed and nothing else with it and a whole lot of mulch would meet the definition.
Yeah.
And that's not gonna really be functional.
We're. Okay. I'm asking Luke the question.
Yeah.
The intention of this is to give the developer an opportunity to reduce their runoff volume by accounting for evapotranspiration.
yes.
That is the idea.
And so the question is, how can they account for it? Because when they demonstrate their runoff volume compliance, it's all gonna be with wind slam, right? For the most part.
For infiltration, yes, for runoff. Yeah.
When I looked at different models, swim supposedly does a better job of conferring for evapotranspiration and green infrastructure. I haven't used it
Too,
as opposed to hydrocarbon, so I don't know.
yeah. This is a
And I
different,
don't know how they account for it.
well, HydroCAD does not, I don't think.
No,
You have to manually enter something.
Okay.
But again, that's just manually entering the values. It's not.
well, somehow that apartment building on corner of Greenway and Deming accounted for something, and so sold the one down on Elm Boulevard.
Yeah.
So they must take a surface area and some evaporation rate. And see, this type of plants are gonna produce this much evapotranspiration.
Her's got his hand up
Maybe he's got an idea.
for a while. Well,
I just noticed.
No, it just went up.
turn them in, turn them on.
Oh, yeah, I think I have to physically turn them.
Hang on, Herb. Herb, your microphone's off if that's on your end.
No, I think it's.
No, I have to. There.
You just turned his off.
Hi, I just wanted to explain what the numbers mean there. It looks like those were from the modeling of the North Fork Basin by USGS, and they're based on the North Fork Basin numbers.
Are you talking about the 23 inches?
Yeah, so the 35 inches would be the average rainfall on the watershed on the North Fork, with 23 inches per year of evapotranspiration. So that means that's an average of all the vegetation that's within the North Fork watershed.
Cultural watershed.
Yeah, so it's a watershed number, the 23 inches, which represents at the average condition of the, vegetated condition of the watershed,
Okay.
which includes farmland, trees, prairie, whatever. So it's not referring to any single species. That's what I wanted to explain.
Thank you.
And also the 35 inches, of rain is now an average of 37 inches per year. So the average, the 23 inches has changed also due to climate change.
Herb, let me see if I understand. Those numbers you're saying are from the North Fork, from a specific study of the North Fork watershed?
Yeah, it was a study done by USGS, with Jeff Stoyer did a rainfall runoff model on it.
And so how was evapotranspiration accounted for in that?
The model handles it.
The model, the model answers all. I want to know if the model.
They measured,
We got corn, we got
weather data
we got
to,
grass.
Okay, so the model has the capability of handling it.
Well,
yeah,
okay.
the model
It is-
handled evapotranspiration and was based on climate data.
Yeah, but that 35 inches is for a specific bracket of years then,
Yes,
whatever the study was.
Well, the 35 inches is
for the years in that study. Yeah.
It was a measured number.
Yes.
All right.
Well, maybe, okay, since adding this is going to benefit developers, right? It's not going to be restrictive, it'll be permissive. It's going to give them an opportunity. So maybe we don't tie ourselves into knots trying to figure out how to tell them to model it. Maybe we let them figure out how they're going to model it, and they just have to produce the justification, and that's something that Luke can do.
I like that. That's a good idea. Yeah.
You want Luke to have developers say, well, I use a North Fork study. And the next developer says, well, I talked to my aunt, Jane, and she's a hydrologist.
I think Jane be better.
Hmm?
Nothing.
I
I
mean,
don't think that's what Lisa, that's not what Lisa's saying, I don't think.
about
Yeah.
those two scenarios.
I guess at the end of the day, this is only hurting the requirements, right? It's drawing down the developer's requirements.
Yeah,
So if we want to go that route,
it means they would have systems that have less infiltration needs because they're gonna be able to account for this volume.
And is that,
Is that a bad thing?
yeah, I don't think it,
Not necessarily, because some areas got groundwater flooding, so infiltration isn't always the greatest thing. I mean, currently we have
Yeah,
groundwater flooding now. We go through drought period, we may
Right.
not have that. But our aquifer doesn't need
I don't know.
way more replenishment.
I think we'll get the parking lot this thing for a little bit and
I could
mull it
always
some more.
talk to Dean County Land and Water about this too.
I think it needs more thought. Yeah, we're not gonna solve this tonight, I don't think.
As far, the best of my knowledge, we would be the first community to
Yeah.
implement something.
That's good.
Yeah, not that that's a bad
Yeah.
thing. It's
No.
just,
Be a leader.
We were the first community to develop a stormwater ordinance, so
yeah,
why not?
exactly.
Cutting edge is a bleeding edge.
Well, and that's, okay, so on the downside, it's great to be a pioneer and all that.
Right.
It also means Lisa gets phone calls from every developer saying, hey, you guys are screwing us because you're requiring more things than Verona and Wanakee and Sun Prairie. We're gonna go build somewhere else.
Is that
in this
bad?
case, this is better for them.
If some people would say that's bad,
Maybe-
some zoning people and planning people and
Why are you giving developers this? Yeah, if anything, people would say, why are you making it easier for developers? But if the science is there and this is.
that's the problem. I'm not sure we're there yet, you know.
I guess that's another question I would have for implementing this. We end up being less restrictive than state statute.
Right.
If that is the case, can we ratchet up what is required elsewhere so that we are not less restricted?
Yeah.
That
Well-
would really be pioneering.
My guess is the developer rather develop an infiltration basin than have green infrastructure.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think if they could do it that way, that's.
An infiltration basin is green infrastructure, just to be clear about it, okay? That is an example of green infrastructure, an infiltration basin.
Okay.
So there's my point. I'm not gonna drop it.
Clearly.
Not all infiltration basins are green.
They are.
Pervious pavement is considered green infrastructure. Explain that one to me.
I cannot.
Works for a year or two.
It's not green. It'd be green. All right, are we gonna scroll down to any other definitions? I've got one. It'll just take a while. 38, the maximum extent practicable, that famous one.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Not even touch that one.
We have a lot, we said, in the middle there, it says, this takes into account best available technology, cost effectiveness, and other competing issues such as human safety and welfare, and endangered and threatened resources, historic properties, geographic features. Those are all good things. I agree with every one of them. I think we should also say, maybe, the factors do not include economic impacts of the value of the development. Or something to that effect. That's always the bugaboo is that we had this, take out a parking lot, make one less parking lot, make one less apartment building, make 2 less units. It all affects their cost balance. I understand that, and they got to decide if it's economically feasible to do something. But do we want to say, what we're saying here is that you have to meet these requirements to the maximum extent practicable. And there might be examples or situations where you can't meet them because of some of these things that are on this list. But something that's not on that list and intentionally not on that list is economics.
Well, cost effectiveness is mentioned and.
Total economics is cost effectiveness. Yeah, it was.
You're right, I missed that.
Yeah, that pretty much says it all.
Maybe, well, then my question is, can we take out cost effectiveness?
I don't think we can because if anything, we could define what's the cutoff. If your costs double to
Well, that's the issue. What is the cutoff?
Right.
Well, then that, it's not for us to decide if it's cost effective, it's for that developer to decide. Is this cost effective for me to do all this? And if it's not,
Well,
maybe I don't do it.
but you see, but the developers pressure, and it's not a moral decision, it's a fine, is to take the site and build it out to the maximum extent they can, to get as much in there as they can, and then say, I can't build upon that big, it's not, I've done the maximum extent practicable because of a cost effectiveness issue.
So there is a statement in the statute that once you hit 2% of a site's area.
Yes, there is.
So there's that one.
There is that cutoff.
existing.
That's for
That's
infiltration
just-
only, right?
Yes.
Not for peak control or pollution
So
control.
what you're kind of referring to again is that apartment building in the corner, Deming Way and Greenway. We saw the plan, the building occupied the whole site. and
Yep.
It says it can't meet infiltration.
Right,
There's no more land left.
Right. right. And I'm sure it would have affected his cost effectiveness if he had decreased the footprint of the building. I understand that.
Yeah,
But that's always,
he got around our ordinance and went to fees in lieu, which is a lot cheaper than
Yeah.
reducing the size of the footprint.
well, wasn't that was the one that Esser Pond was the flow controlled structure. They didn't have to meet flow because we had the pond down.
The regional,
Yeah.
Like,
But it didn't meet fees in lieu of for infiltration. I mean, he got fees in lieu of
just
a
for.
couple $1,000s instead of a smaller footprint.
That's a future discussion of the rate, how much we charge for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Cause it could be that we let them go for fees in lieu, but we've. Increased the cost to the extent that now maybe they are incentivized to do a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What would have been the outcome if we saw that plan in early stages and said, you gotta meet infiltration? You form your building or design your building to meet infiltration.
I don't know. Okay, I'm hearing a consensus that we cannot take out the word cost effectiveness. That's off the table.
They had this sentence in here to redevelopment. So any new impervious, this is already how we handled it, just a clarification. Any new impervious surfaces added for a redevelopment are subject to new development
And it's
standards.
subject to development.
Just to make
Yeah.
that
Development.
crystal clear in there.
Yeah. I don't have anything else under definitions.
Next thing that we have not talked about was the design storms that we're using. So a suggestion was to use the Dr. Wright adjusted storms. I think I can just pull that up as an example.
Are these notes? I didn't see that in my copy, but okay.
I looked into the NOAA data, how it's put together. And Bolton 14 is taking all the rainfall data in Wisconsin up through 2011. And they did it for the whole state, and then they went down to certain areas. So like Madison, we'll go back to 1850. Say you used the average annual rainfall from like 1850 to 2011 to get their average. So that doesn't take
Get the
into
reoccurrence intervals.
Right, then they after they get the rainfall, then they do a frequency analysis and come up with a storm recurrence level. So we're looking at something that was, and we've known that climate change probably started in 1995 or something like that. So most of the thing in bulletin 14 doesn't take into account current conditions at all. And that's why DNR had Dr. Wright, they funded that Dr. Wright's rainfall project. Rainy day project, I think it was called.
So just as an example for the higher storms, if we're going off of the average in the Dr. Wright adjustment, that would be 8.14 inches over for a 200-year storm compared with 7.53 that we have now. For the 100-year, it's 7.21 rather than the 6.66 we have now. So each one's about, half an inch more, essentially, not the average.
Okay.
So
And again, you're comparing those numbers, 'cause in Atlas 14, it's got a number for a storm and a reoccurrence, and then it's got a bracketed range, right?
They do have the not confidence, 90% confidence limits,
Yes.
so.
So, and all those numbers are just the main,
That's what
the
the upper and
average.
lower, that's what the upper and lower bound is,
Yeah.
that the confidence limit's 90%.
the red is the upper bound, the one above it's the lower, the one underneath is the average.
Yeah, but these are not. I'm missing something here. Are the NOAA numbers? These are just Dr. Wright's numbers.
Those are just
Just Dr.
Wright's.
Wright's numbers.
Yes, just Dr. Wright's. So we're really just looking at these 24-hour ones right here.
Right.
All right, I was looking at the wrong lower bound.
Yeah.
Some reason I highlighted the upper, I meant to do the average actually.
But
That would be an alternative of just using the 200-year flood. We could use the 200-year flood and adjust it for Dr. Wright if we want to be more conservative.
is Manson using Wright's numbers? I know they bumped it up to 200.
To the best of my understanding, all surrounding communities use the Atlas 14.
Atlas 14.
I think we should be consistent.
That was my suggestion.
Unless
as
there's a
well.
reason to try to get everybody to follow us onto a different standard.
Well, the hope was that they were working on 15, but it got stopped.
Yeah.
So when with the present climate or present, that's the
President
wrong thing word.
regime.
The leader, our present leadership. We're not knows taking a big cut, so they're probably not going to do any updates. And I doubt if they may well get rid of that. They may well get rid of 14.
See it for a while. Well, 14's done.
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Can't joke anymore.
True.
This could be another
Turn
thing.
me in.
I could set up a call between myself and Dane County and add this to our discussion as well, to see where they're at.
So let me make sure I understand. What you were telling us, I know it's on here. I should have looked at it more carefully. The right numbers average for the larger storms is around a half an inch more than the NOAA numbers. Yes,
Yeah,
half an inch. Okay.
I didn't look at the lower ones, but I assume they're somewhat higher.
And just so everybody knows, we did use Dr. Wright's adjustment for our floodplain management on study.
Yes.
I think you can talk to the county. My inclination would be to recommend we stick with the NOAA numbers just because it's consistent with the other communities. And
The only impact is it's more conservative. We would,
I know
if climate change keeps on occurring, which it probably will, we would be more in line with what's happening.
I can take the side of the developers a little bit when their engineers are doing these calculations and they're in Wanakee versus Sunbury versus Middleton, and they got to use different rainfall files for each one of these analyses. It can get challenging. And
I can't believe a bigger detention pond would make a difference on where they do their development. What
oh, really?
I to say,
Thinking about, I mean, I agree with you, it makes sense to be consistent, but in the future, or maybe starting now, it might make sense to try to get all the communities together. I mean, we're all.
This would be a MAM swap discussion.
Exactly.
There's a MAM swap group. That's the Dane County MS4s. I agree, make it.
Not everybody's consistent, because I heard that up until recently, and I guess I don't really know this, but Verona had a lot more restrictions against building apartments than Middleton did and Madison. So apartments are being built in Madison and Middleton versus Verona. And so it's not all,
Yeah,
and even though the demand was probably in Verona,
I don't know if there's evidence of that or not. I mean, you heard it from somebody, I guess, but
yeah.
I'd like to know a little more information if that's true or not. I don't know.
I guess from a resident in Verona that I knew, but
Oh,
I've gone to Verona. I haven't seen many apartment
Oh,
buildings.
go down there
you,
sometime.
you don't see a lot of apartments being built in Verona, do you?
Yes, you do.
I do.
I do.
When I was the city engineer for the city of Verona, we had a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that might have been more of a recent trend, but
yeah.
we saw a lot like a year or two ago when I was
I
there.
think there's a lot.
Oh, well.
And adding the 200-year storm certainly ups the game, which we've done now for a while. So that's certainly from a flood control point of view, significant change.
Okay, you're gonna talk to the county and see what
Yeah,
they
I'm
say.
gonna talk to the county about that and the available transpiration.
And again, maybe make it, I don't know, man swap meets 4 times a year.
Yep, quarterly.
Quarterly,
That's 4 times a year. I
I don't know.
can do the math. I can do the math.
I don't know when the next one is.
But make it, recommend that as a topic. I'd like to see if people we all for it, if they wanted to use Professor Wright's numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if, at least at the Dane County level, they haven't been kind of thinking about
Mm-hmm.
these similar questions already, so. Either way, it'd be interesting to hear how they approach it.
Okay, so we're done with page 12.
Is a very minor thing here on number 3, back up, sorry, under runoff rate control, number 3.
Yep.
Is there something missing in the last sentence there for purposes with this paragraph?
Of complying with this paragraph.
The sentence is kind of pervious areas include non-directly
So
connected impervious. Oh,
what
I just had to read it carefully 3 times.
3 times the charm.
Yeah. Include non-directly connected impervious surfaces.
Yeah, so you don't just lump the non-directly connected in.
Got it. Okay.
Number 5 here, under that same section, I added. Just saying that they have to prove the flow coming out of their outlet is not gonna be erosive. Which
Mhm.
requires just stating it again.
Okay.
One of the other big changes I added and detention basins here. And then a couple other more technical requirements on the design of conveyance systems and detention basins.
Where are you now? Page.
Page 47 of the packet.
You're in the conveyance systems, right?
Yes, yeah.
I don't know. That's just, I don't know. So number 2, stormwater pipes will convey completely blah, blah, blah. Event below the roadway surface. We're meaning the public or private roadway surfaces within the site? In other words, private roadways, or are we saying public roadways?
So that would be public. Yeah, anything in front of the site, I guess.
If they want a flooded road inside their site, that's okay.
Yeah, that's more of a plumbing question at that point. DSPS will.
So I would add the word public roadway surfaces.
Mhm.
So just skip over the infiltration and recharge?
No, that's further
Yeah,
down on
that's
the page.
coming.
Okay,
But I had something in item number 8, I guess it is. On page 14. Just before infiltration and recharge. So the city engineer may require an increase of capacity of downstream receiving systems at the developer's expense if determined to be necessary.
Yeah.
I guess I would want to know, what does that mean? What would make it
So-
necessary? And then I would also underscore somehow that this is at the city engineer's discretion.
So,
I got a can of worms
This
written.
yeah, it's a little different than some of the other areas we've been talking about. So, let's say there's a huge development that goes into a regional basin. And they're, for some reason, exceeding the safe capacity of the storm sewer system going into that other basin. There isn't many situations where that would happen, right? They're gonna have to meet rate control anyways, so this is kind of redundant in a way. But it's more so saying if it's for some reason they have to increase the capacity downstream and things are not sized appropriately. That's what this was.
Okay.
That's no different than water main or sewer.
Yes. It's in the similar vein.
Developer still has to pay for that
But if-
expansion and that enlargement.
If somewhere downstream, the system is not meeting your, let's just say your peak, it's not containing the 10 storm in the pipe, right? If it's not currently doing that, well, the development meets all its peak flows, this
Yeah.
doesn't apply.
Yes, so I guess this would really only apply if we had a fees in lieu situation. That's the only way I think it would really apply.
For a peak flow.
Where for some reason they can't infiltrate on site, something like that.
See, this is where the swim modeling comes into play as opposed to the design storm modeling. This is the benefit of that, because you can meet your peak flows, but now you got a longer peak flow. It's there, it's not exceeding it, but it's there for a longer time. And now downstream, there's another one that's always been there. It's always been doing its thing, no problem. But now there is a problem when these two match. You're only going to know that answer if you do a hydraulic analysis downstream from the site.
Yeah.
So we're saying here, I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but to these guys, if you're suspicious of a situation like that, part of the developer's responsibility would be to do a continuous rainfall simulation, a swim model of the hydraulics downstream.
Yes, I would point out, I guess I just thought of another way this would apply. So if runoff is leaving at one portion of the site, but then they're putting in a basin and directly connecting into a storm sewer structure, for example, it's probably it might go to a different structure, something of that nature. The pipe directly downstream of that might not be sized appropriately. So this is more saying, and that's something that can be done in HydroCAD too. That's pretty,
Yeah, okay.
it's basically just saying that they have to replace that city pipe if for some reason those flows are out there.
So
Maybe there's a different way to phrase.
yeah,
We could phrase it differently.
yeah.
'Cause I mean, the shall is pretty strong. So if they, just work on the wording of that. To
Mhm.
avoid differences of interpretation.
I
I
think-
think mean to determine it's necessary.
Yeah, in the first, I don't mind the shall in the first sentence.
No, I don't either, but I'm just saying if
Okay.
something says shall, then it's kind of like there shouldn't be if that doesn't happen.
I guess
then
We
we're
could
gonna-
just take out that highlighted sentence right there. And it already says shall not exceed the safe capacity
That's what I'm
downstream.
thinking, yeah.
If they're exceeding it, they have to fix
They
it
have to
so it
fix
does
it.
not exceed it.
So I would take out that.
Well, how, and here my question is, on these site that's being developed, we're not requiring anybody normally to do any analysis once it leaves the site of the hydraulics downstream. You have to make a judgment that says, in this situation, I'm gonna have to have you do some more modeling. On this. downstream area.
I've asked the question though in my plan review. If I see like a small street pipe, like a 12-inch or something, and then they're
And they're,
potentially gonna add
Changing.
to a box. And add runoff from a parking lot or something into it.
to do an analysis, to do a calculation,
I asked them the question to see if they're exceeding the capacity of the pipe.
and for them to answer that question, they've got to do some modeling, of some sort. Okay.
I'm not sure it's the same thing, but I talked about Graber's Pond a number of times with the Bell Farm development and the operation of Graber's Pond, increasing discharges downstream, and does the developer have any responsibility for the channel or lack of channel downstream? Would that apply in this case? It seemed to me like they should have.
Yeah,
That is, they are probably going to increase their flows, and it seems like developers should take into account some kind of plan how to handle those additional flows.
downstream. Mr. Valley also.
And a swim model of the whole basin would have provided that information.
Yes, I absolutely agree.
Is it to the point where, again, going to a new development, they have to hire our consultant to look at the infrastructure around that development to make sure the capacity is there for that development? Are we to the point that we have to have our consultant get hired to evaluate the entire system here too? Or do we want to get to that level?
I think Madison did that recently because of the flooding. They did a swim model of the whole of the whole Madison area.
Yeah, but that wasn't for a specific development.
No.
I'm talking.
No, but the development get into that.
Yes, yeah, correct. And I'm just wondering, are we to that point and we're handling this utility, all of a sudden, well, we're sort of a utility, but we're not like these guys.
No, I think on hindsight, Misty Valley and Bell Farms, it would have helped our understanding to have done the entire system.
When we did the swim model for everything upstream, we should have just continued and done the whole swim model for the rest of the watershed.
Well, now we can actually do it because we've got that new land, but which I complained about when that thing came through. But are we to that point?
Of doing an entire city swim model,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah,
Well, in a sense, we've done a little bit of that with the floodplain, the flood modeling,
yeah.
not to the detail of Madison's. Madison was a pretty sophisticated process. I worked on several of those. But
But are we to the point where they can put in a new development and we can look at it and say, yeah, that's not going to, well, according to the ordinance, it shouldn't affect the overall floodplain. But, I guess.
well, good question, because
I think it'd be a good plan to do that, but I don't know.
how to
That's
implement it.
beside the point of this.
Yeah,
yeah,
It is, but I mean, I think.
I mean, I don't know if we have the flexibility, like going back to the Allen Boulevard site again, that it's on the bottom of the watershed.
Right.
And we're detaining water, waiting for the flood peak to come down, and then we discharge our water into that. I mean,
Yeah,
it would make more sense for them just to let it go into the lake and give us some money to do something else.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the practical solution of it.
I would say, if we were to go this route and have like an entire swim model and then map out the areas where we're getting close to capacity or something like that. I wouldn't want to look at it almost too detailed. I'd want to kind of take a more
well,
high level.
putting it in a swim model is going to raise a whole buttload of alarms.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where we are. Our current model then is, have you looked at our current model that EOR did?
Well,
that is a swim model. That floodplain
Yeah.
model is
yeah,
swim.
yeah,
It's a swim model.
yeah. So I mean, we could definitely take like those piecemeal swim models and kind of fit them all together. I know there was other areas in the city I've been looking
Yeah.
at too of modeling, but yeah, I mean, we would have to try to flesh out what an entire swim model of the city would look like, where we wanted to,
Yeah.
what detail we wanted to model it to as well.
Yeah, and again, you're just going to raise more issues. I mean,
Okay,
that's why they do water system analysis and.
yeah, well, that's.
Look for those root points.
Yeah.
What is the pleasure of the commission here? It's gonna be 8 o'clock.
I think
I-
they will go back to it.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we haven't even gotten into the discussion of, well, infiltration and sorry, and the fees.
Fee,
What the actual fees are, which by the way, if we're gonna table this and come back to it next time, Luke, I didn't see the fee schedule in our ordinance.
I don't,
well, my recommend,
so that's, yeah, that was kind of, I didn't really put a whole lot of detail in there. So we had discussed previously, there's a fee schedule for the city and kind of putting it in there, so
Right.
you don't have to
I-
amend the ordinance every time.
I don't think I found the fee for
Yeah.
meetings in lieu in the city's fee schedule.
I think it's.
I made a recommendation. When I got to that section, I said, the fee schedule is available from the city engineering department. And that's where you go look up, oh, I gotta pay this much money for this much impervious area.
Shouldn't all the fees be published in our fee schedule?
Yeah, but not the ordinance. The numbers won't be in the ordinance, right?
And you want to be
They're in
able,
the schedule.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. If you go to the fee schedule
but you can,
and click on that, you can find the park fees in
Yep.
lieu, but I couldn't find the stormwater.
It's not
It's not
in,
in there.
oh,
currently what it says is this with an equation on file with the city engineer.
Okay, yeah.
It doesn't really give
Yeah.
any more detail.
Okay, but you're not suggesting we put a number in the ordinance itself?
No, but I'm suggesting that when somebody goes to the fee schedule, they see what the actual fee is.
That would be
I
nice.
don't know what the actual fee is, so for next time, can you include something so that we know when we start talking about the fee?
And this should be.
When was the last time it was updated, you know, because obviously inflation.
It should be able to be updated annually because of inflation.
We update the other fees that often?
The other fees, you know, whenever the other fees are updated, this one should be as well, and if it's a separate document, then if this one just refers to that.
Mhm.
Well, I wouldn't even link it to other fees like park fees because they're not
Well,
going to change.
I'm not saying linking,
Not linking it, I'm just
But-
saying it's in the schedule.
Yeah,
Right.
but we want to be able to change it
Yeah.
more
Yes, we-
frequently than what has been done in the past.
Then you just request
council
the
approval.
council to change the fee schedule
Yeah. Yes, that's what we,
based on this group's recommendation. Once it's in the fee schedule, not in the ordinance.
yeah.
Okay,
So I just
so
want to point out before we're done, these couple of things that are highlighted here are just kind of standard design requirements that will require developers. So freeboard requirements, side slope requirements, they can't make them too steep, stuff like that. It was never defined in the ordinance, so that's all that is.
and if you would just take a look at I have a couple of those minor edits in that area, and you can just take a look at them, see what you think.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we're gonna pick up again with infiltration and reach. Okay,
Wait, we need one last
Yeah, we did.
oh, what do we have?
declaration.
Yeah, the declaration, we gotta take care of that.
Oh. We voted on that.
No, the adjournment declaration that you're gonna declare the meeting adjourned.
Oh, yeah, I will. Hold your breath.
Well, he was gonna stop recording.
That
You're gonna talk about things that we're gonna bring up next time.
meeting is, well, okay, before we adjourn, we're not adjourned yet. Are there other things you want to bring up for next time?
Well, I just wonder,
I don't know about next-
no, we're cut short because things aren't on the agenda. Can we have a sort of a topic for no action? Where we could just talk about things that have some concern, but don't want to make it agenda item?
Well, I got a feeling this ordinance is gonna take up another 75%.
No, this is a general topic for all the,
Oh, as a,
yeah, just so,
Yeah,
just so we could talk open discussion type thing.
can you do that?
Just let people know,
Yeah, it just has to remain limited.
As long as
Yeah.
no, there's no action taking place, but if I want to ask you about the confluence pond, do you have?
Yeah,
So we don't make it as an item on agenda, hey, we don't need it, that data shows that we're okay or something like that.
So what you're asking for is an agenda item that says open discussion on.
Yeah, put that on our agenda all the time, yeah.
And I have,
Public gonna buy into that?
is who gonna buy into it?
Public.
Yeah,
If we
I
say,
mean, you're gonna talk about stuff that I don't know. about.
I just,
it would have to be
Yeah.
really limited in scope.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
so.
and it's really gonna be limited. I mean, you just can't say,
Yeah.
well, we're gonna have an open discussion and there are gonna be public.
Could it be, I mean, if it's as specific as what you gave as an example, Warren, could it just be staff update?
or we can make it in, yeah, we're staff updates or items concerned with the stormwater ordinance. Which is pretty,
Well,
opens up to everything.
what about items for future discussion and staff updates?
I mean, I guess if anyone has something they'd like to discuss in specific, all you have to do is just shoot me an email too.
Yeah.
Add it to the agenda.
Right,
Yeah, but we think of things during
Yeah,
the course of the thing and it just seems like,
I know, but we don't want to go too far with public not knowing what's on the agenda.
Yeah, that's where I think.
queasy.
Yeah, if we have, we could just, if something comes up like that. We could always just add it to the agenda for next week too.
right.
I
I
am,
mean, if you put down no action. Loud,
No, it's still,
it isn't like the public turns into this thing, over the years, how many people have actually turned in?
we don't,
It's the,
yeah,
it's the potential.
I had an item to suggest for the future, renew the blue. I know the mayor, I guess, signed the city on to be part of the Renew the Blue Council, and I just wanted to get an update on that, the cost to the city if there is one, and also how will the delegates to the Renew the Blue be identified
That's an agenda item for
next time.
next time.
They're not gonna get started until, well, actually, I think in October, they're gonna have a, like a first convening, but they really won't get started until next year.
So I think I'm gonna suggest for next time, we don't try to schedule the groundwater, water quality topic. That's, I think,
We gotta finish our ordinance.
yeah, I think that's priority right now.
Be nice to wrap that up by the beginning of the year.
Okay.
If you have
It's
implemented.
gonna take. Yeah. It takes some more work. Okay? Anything else?
Progress was made though.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Here, thanks.